Hello, my name is Anthony Angel and I am a training and consultancy specialist here at Pegasus Software. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video on making tax digital. I hope that you find what I am covering here both interesting and informative. So let me quickly go through what I will be covering in this video on the implementation and processing of making tax digital within Capital Gold accounts. Firstly, I will take you through the process of signing up for making tax digital with HMRC, so you will see the sort of information that will be required by HMRC to allow you to sign up and use this new system. Then we will look at how you will authorize your copy of Capital Gold accounts so that it can access your VAT account on the HMRC site using the new HMRC API. I'll create a VAT return, and if you need to make final adjustments to the figures on that VAT return, we'll have a look at how they can be amended to make them correct. And finally, I will show you how we can go through and submit that VAT return to HMRC. Now, before you can start using MTD, you will need to sign up with HMRC. So let me take you through that process. You should only sign up for Making Tax Digital once you have submitted your final VAT return using the existing system and it's all completed, and prior to submitting your next VAT return under these new MTD rules. First of all, go onto the government website, gov.uk, and enter in their search engine, sign up for using Making Tax Digital. From that page, you'll find a link that allows you to sign up your business for Making Tax Digital. Just bear in mind that the following screens may vary from what I show you next because HMRC might update them. The first question you'll be asked is, do you have accounting software for managing your VAT records? The answer is, yes, I have accounting software because you are using Capital Gold accounts. The next question you will be asked is your software ready to submit your Making Tax Digital for VAT returns directly to HMRC? Again, the answer is yes, my software submits through Making Tax Digital for VAT because you are using Capital Gold accounts. Now you need to log on to the Government Gateway using your existing Government Gateway user ID and password. This is the user ID and password you use to submit your VAT returns online. If you don't normally use your Government Gateway credentials to submit your VAT returns to HMRC, then you will be asked for additional information such as your VAT registration number, VAT registration date, and your business postcode. Because from this information, they will be able to identify the relevant company that is signing up for MTD. You'll then be asked, do you have more than one VAT registered business? If you have, then you will be asked a few more questions to make sure the business details and the VAT registration numbers match. What type of company are you registered as? Sole trader, limited company, or other? Select the correct option and press continue. Now, depending on which option you select, the next question may vary. For a sole trader, you'll be asked what is your date of birth and your national insurance number. In this example, we will sign up as a limited company, in which case you will be asked for your company registration number and corporation tax payer reference number. Next, you will need to agree to get emails instead of letters. You have to agree to go paperless and receive emails about your VAT account to complete the sign-up process. They will send you emails when there are messages about VAT in your HMRC digital tax account. Obviously, you'll need to enter your email address. They will then send you an email. Click on the link in that email to verify that this is your correct email address. They will then confirm that you have verified that email address, at which point you can then select the continue to sign up option shown in green on screen. And finally, they will send you the terms and conditions that you will need to accept. And that's it. You will then be able to use MTD for VAT. HMRC will send you a confirmation email within 72 hours of signing up. Do not submit a VAT return until you receive that confirmation email. Remember, you should only sign up for Making Tax Digital once you have submitted your final VAT return using the existing system and prior to the end of the next VAT quarter where you will be submitting your next VAT return under these new MTD rules. Okay, let's have a look at MTD for VAT in Pegasus Capital Gold. There is an accompanying checklist guide that can support you through the process. Remember, you must sign up for MTD for VAT with HMRC before switching it on in Pegasus Capital Gold. The earliest that you can switch on MTD for VAT is the 1st of April 2019. Now, MTD for VAT rules apply to business from the first full VAT period starting on or after the 1st of April 2019. So what do we need to do before switching on MTD for VAT in Pegasus Capital Gold? Well, step 1 is to identify the first VAT period for MTD. We must be sure of this before continuing. So let's have a look. Let's go to Parameters, company parameters, and we'll click next a couple of times, we can clearly see that the current financial year starts on the 1st of January 2019, and we are currently in period 3. Let's continue. We can see that the company is VAT registered and MTD for VAT is currently unticked. Let's click next. We can see here that the final processing day for the next VAT return is the 31st of March 2019. That means the next VAT quarter starts on the 1st of April 2019. We have clearly identified the first VAT period for MTD for VAT. Let's cancel out. So step 2 is all about making sure that you've committed the final pre-MTD VAT return, and that can be done using the periodic VAT return screen. You must commit your pre-MTD VAT return in Pegasus Capital Gold before continuing. So let's do that. Into periodic, into the VAT return. You can see that it's the period ending 31st of March 2019. Let's calculate the VAT return. Now I've got some figures in there. I'm happy with those figures, and I'm going to commit the pre-MTD VAT return. I'm going to click OK to commit. And OK again. And I'm going to close that. Please note that you must remember to submit your final pre-MTD VAT return using the current method and pay HMRC. You must submit your final VAT return, pay HMRC, and be certain the payment has cleared before continuing. So step 3 is to make sure you've submitted your final VAT return, you've paid HMRC, and you've got to be certain that the payment is cleared before continuing. It's also the right time for this particular company to perform the period end. So let's go to periodic, into the period end, do the usual processes as normal. So next, select the reports, click next, discard any information if you so wish, but I'm going to continue and click finish. Confirm, and through it goes. Now to check that the period end has gone through okay, if I just go back into company parameters, click next a few times, I can clearly see I am now in current accounting period number 4. And I'm going to cancel out. Okay, we're going to move on to switching on MTD for VAT. Remember that we recommend that you switch on MTD for VAT soon after submitting your final pre-MTD VAT return using the current method and paying HMRC. However, it can be done immediately before you need to submit your first MTD VAT return to HMRC. So let's go into parameters, company parameters. Okay, let's click next a few times and we'll get to the page where we can switch on MTD for VAT. All we need to do is tick on the box, type in the appropriate date, go through the rest of the parameters and make any changes if you need to, and click finish. We have just switched on MTD for VAT. We're going to move on to authorizing Pegasus Capital Gold with HMRC for MTD for VAT. Again, we recommend that you authorize your software as soon as possible after switching on MTD for VAT. However, it can be done nearer to when you submit your first MTD VAT return to HMRC. You will need to use your Government Gateway ID to grant authority to Pegasus Capital Gold in order to interact with HMRC for MTD for VAT. Have your Government Gateway ID to hand before continuing. HMRC will send an access code to your mobile phone, landline, or other device. You might need to also confirm who you are by answering some security questions on, for example, your passport, P60, or other documents. To authorize your Pegasus Capital Gold software, open up the periodic VAT return form and click the Calculate button. I get a message that tells me that Capital Gold Accounts is not authorized, so the first thing I will need to do is to authorize this copy of Capital Gold Accounts to communicate with HMRC. If I said no here, I will simply not be able to commit the return, so I'm going to say yes. This option takes us to this screen on the gov.uk website, the authority to interact with HMRC on your behalf. Notice it is saying Pegasus Capital Gold needs permission to interact with HMRC on your behalf and is asking us to grant authority for Capital Gold to communicate with your VAT account held by HMRC. I'm going to click Continue. This will take me to the Sign In page. Enter your HMRC credentials here. Enter the password and click Sign In. This takes us to this screen, authority to interact with HMRC on your behalf. This prompts you to specifically grant authority for your copy of Capital Gold to allow it to communicate with HMRC. And this allows you to both view your VAT records and to update those VAT records on the HMRC site with details of your new MTD VAT submissions. It also tells you that this authority will be valid for 18 months. Let me select the grant authority. Once you grant authority, then in the background there is a communication process that grants a secure access for Capital Gold to interact with your VAT account on the HMRC site. As you can see, Capital Gold has now been authorized with HMRC for MTD for VAT. Let's click OK. I haven't got any transactions at the moment, so I'm going to click No and close out of the VAT return screen. Now once this is done, that's it. Your Capital Gold system will be communicating with HMRC via the new MTD VAT API and will be returned to Capital Gold. The process will need to be repeated in 18 months' time to allow you to renew the grant of authority. Let's have a quick look at the VAT return. Into Periodic, into the VAT return, and let's click Calculate. You can see I have some values here. However, I've just realized I need to make an adjustment to the VAT return. So, how can I adjust my VAT return so it will be correct? Remember, you cannot manually adjust the VAT return once MTD comes into force, because there is no digital record of that adjustment. Those figures must be generated from the underlying digital VAT records via the digital compatible software. That then begs the next question: how do I amend those figures? Let us have a look at the VAT rates option. First, let me close out of the VAT return, go into Parameters, and select VAT rates. In here, we have added the ability to create a new VAT adjustment rate. This new type of code can be used in the VAT adjustment form and allows most boxes on the VAT return to be adjusted. I say most boxes because boxes 3 and 5 are calculated and therefore cannot be adjusted. These VAT rate codes can only be used in the VAT adjustment forms to amend the values on the VAT return. This may be to adjust or correct a particular VAT figure. Let's create a new VAT adjustment rate. I'm going to give it a description: MTD EC Purchase Adjust. I'm going to tick the box for VAT adjustment rate. As you can see, I can now select which of the VAT return boxes I wish to update. I'm going to tick box 2, Tax Value and Acquisitions EC, and as you can see, it automatically ticks box 4 for you. And I am also going to select box 9, Total Value of Acquisitions EC, and click OK. And then finish. So let's go and post a VAT adjustment. If we go to Periodic, into VAT Adjustment, we'll use the date, input by, narrative, adjust. It's in relation to the purchase ledger. I'm going to select the appropriate supplier. From the drop down for the VAT code, I can select the new VAT rate I created earlier. Let's put the goods value to 1,000, VAT 200, adjusting the VAT return as required. And you can see which boxes will be updated. They are ticked down the bottom here, and we are going to click Save. There is a message to state you are about to post a purchase VAT adjustment using VAT code number 2. Are you sure you wish to proceed? I am going to say yes and close. Let's go back into the VAT return. So, Periodic, into the VAT return, and calculate. As you can see, it has updated the VAT return for boxes 2, 4, and 9. Remember that those adjustment VAT codes can be set up and used to adjust the figures to make them correct for the VAT return for other scenarios and reasons as well. Another example may be that my accountant identified a VAT rounding error for a specific invoice that was submitted on my previous VAT return, and they want me to correct this on this next VAT return. As before, I can use an adjustment with a specific VAT adjustment code to adjust the figures to make them correct for this particular VAT return. And in parallel with that, then I'd guess you'd post a non-VAT nominal journal to the VAT output control account as well to bring it into balance. And that is vitally important because these VAT code adjustments do not make nominal postings. In which case, once you have adjusted the VAT return, then you should make a parallel nominal posting to make the values in the nominal ledger match the figures on the VAT return. Okay, I'm now happy that these figures on this VAT return are now all correct, and I am ready to submit these to HMRC via their MTD VAT API. So, to submit these figures to HMRC, I am just going to select the commit option. I'll be prompted with a message explaining that MTD for VAT is in use and the relevant legal declaration is displayed. I am going to click OK to agree with them. And there we have it. Confirmation that the VAT return has been submitted to HMRC successfully. It is recommended to take a backup of the data, and let's click OK. The VAT return is now complete. OK. To conclude, the MTD legislation states that VAT-registered businesses with a taxable turnover above the VAT threshold are mandated to keep digital VAT records. HMRC believe that improved accuracy will be provided by businesses if they maintain digital records of their sales and purchases, i.e. using MTD-compatible software to store and process that information. They extend that vision by saying that those digital records will be used to create and send VAT returns directly to HMRC, and because they will be sent digitally, they believe this will avoid transposition errors where the information is manually entered onto the HMRC site, therefore reduce the amount of tax loss to those avoidable errors. As we have just seen, Capital Gold Accounts covers all of the requirements for functional compatible software as defined by HMRC. It allows you to authorize your copy of Capital Gold Accounts to communicate with your VAT account held on the HMRC site. It also allows you to submit that VAT return to HMRC using the MTD VAT API. Now for further information, then go on to the Pegasus website, pegasus.co.uk. On the software tab, there is a Making Tax Digital option. On that form, there is an introductory video that gives you a concise overview of what MTD is all about. There is an overview of MTD section. This is a link to the government website and gives you a detailed overview of MTD, together with the main messages that HMRC are publishing about MTD, including short video overviews on a range of different aspects of MTD. There are also a couple of other links to the government website. One that covers the VAT notice for MTD, and this includes examples of digital links between accounting software and spreadsheets. The second takes you to the HMRC consultations that provides a whole host of useful information. I'd recommend that periodically coming back to this page on the Pegasus website because we will be updating it with new information as it comes to hand. On the Pegasus Help Center, there are a number of documents designed to help you. We have created an MTD VAT checklist guide. This guide will take you through the whole process of setting up your system to operate under MTD for VAT, including what are the prerequisites, and then it will take you through the options to activate your account for MTD on the HMRC website, authorization to allow Capital Gold Accounts to communicate with that account, and next the sequence you will need to go through to set up Capital Gold Accounts to be MTD enabled, and finally submitting that VAT return through to HMRC. So a complete guide to implementing MTD in Capital Gold Accounts. This checklist guide also includes a fantastic simple flow diagram that covers the entire process, worth looking at before you get into starting this process. Of course, go onto the government website www.gov.uk and search for Making Tax Digital for VAT. This will take you to this webpage that will have a vast number of results all around the subject of MTD. However, the top ones are already those that are on the MTD page on the Pegasus website. Okay, that covers what I wanted to say about MTD. So I hope you have found this video useful and informative. Thank you.